$500. That's what leaves your account on the first of every month for the next 10 years. $60,000 total by the time the decade's over. Doesn't sound like much. Stick around for the outside number. You're 30. Your best friend from college died in a car accident that January. 31 years old, 2 kids, no will, and a 401k he'd never once increased since the day he was hired. You went to the funeral and came home and couldn't stop thinking about how much of his life had been later. The trip he was planning for next year, the house he was going to buy once things settled down. You opened a brokerage account that weekend. Not out of some grand plan, just because later suddenly felt like a word you didn't trust anymore. You set the transfer up on a Sunday afternoon, 2 index funds, automatic, the day after payday every month, so you never see it sitting and checking first. You take a screenshot of the confirmation, $500 recurring monthly, and set it as your phone background, half as a joke, half so you'd stop second-guessing it every time you opened your phone. The first year, nothing happens. $6,000 goes in. The balance says $6,240 by December. You do the math on the $240 and feel almost insulted by how small it is for a year of not touching the money at all. You leave it running anyway. At 32, the account's at $14,100 on its own, quietly, in the background, while you were doing literally anything else. At 33, the market drops hard. 15 weeks, straight down, no bounce. You check the account more in that one stretch than you had in the previous 3 years combined, refreshing it at red lights, in the bathroom at work, right before bed for no reason you could defend to anyone. Your $500 keeps leaving on schedule the entire time because you never turned off the automation, and every month it buys more shares than the month before, since the price of everything keeps falling. You don't feel smart about this while it's happening. You feel a little sick, actually, watching the total shrink even as you keep feeding it. A coworker mentions pulling everything into cash until things stabilize. You think about it for exactly one evening, lying awake doing math on a number that would have locked in a loss you hadn't actually taken yet. You don't do it. At 34, the recovery starts. Slow, then less slow. By the end of the year, the balance is $26,800. You've put in $24,000 across 4 years. The market's given you $2,800 back, which barely covers a rough 15 weeks that felt, at the time, like they'd cost you everything. Here's the part almost nobody explains about the middle of a decade like this. The growth is basically invisible for years. It's mostly your own $500, showing up as your own $500, over and over, month after month, looking exactly like discipline and nothing like investing. At 35, it's $39,900. You stop rounding the number in your head. You start saying it exactly. That same year, a wedding invitation arrives with a destination attached. Flights, a hotel block, a bachelor weekend before it. $1,100 roughly, all in. You consider pausing the $500 for 2 months to cover it without touching savings. You don't pause it. You put the trip on a card instead and pay it off over 3 months, annoyed at yourself the whole time, because interrupting 10 years of momentum for one weekend felt, even in the moment, like the wrong trade. The account crosses $50,000 that same December. On a random Tuesday you almost miss entirely because you're mid-argument with a cable company about a bill. You notice it hours later, screenshot it out of habit, and go back to the phone call. At 36, a friend asks what you're doing with your money, expecting some clever strategy. You tell them $500 a month into 2 index funds. Same 2 funds, same date, every month, no adjustments, and they look a little disappointed by the answer. It's not the answer they wanted, it's the whole answer there is. At 37, it's $61,300. You've put in $42,000 of your own money across 7 years. $19,300 of that total showed up without you doing anything at all. At 38, a bonus lands, $2,000, and for about 10 minutes you consider dropping the whole thing into the account at once, just to watch the number jump. You put $500 of it in, on schedule, same as always, and spend the rest on something that has nothing to do with any of this. At 39, it's $79,600. At 40, the decade ends. Final tally, $83,400. You put in $60,000 of your own money across 10 years, exactly what the hook promised. The market added $23,400 on top of it, for doing absolutely nothing except refusing to stop. That's the inside number. Here's the outside one. Compounding needs three things: money, time, and patience. You'd already supplied the first two, just by getting through the decade. The patience was the entire reason you automated it in the first place. So the decision only had to get made once. Say you'd stopped right there at 40. Not one more dollar going in, ever again, for any reason. Just the $83,400, left sitting in the market for 25 more years. Same two funds, untouched, growing at a plain historical average. By 65, it's roughly $450,000. 10 years of $500 a month, then 25 years of doing absolutely nothing. And the number more than quintuples on its own. That's not a typo. That's just what time does to money once there's enough of it sitting there to work with. You didn't stop though. The $500 a month just kept leaving your account, same as it always had, past 40 and into your 40s and beyond, because turning it off would have required a decision. And the whole design of the thing was that no new decisions were ever required. Run that version out to 65 and it crosses $800,000. Same $500, same two funds. The only difference between the $450,000 version and the $800,000 version is whether the habit outlasted the decade it started in. For you, it did. Mostly because stopping never came up as an option worth considering. Here's the part worth saying plainly, because $500 a month can sound like a rich person number if you've never actually broken it down. It's about $16 a day, 2 streaming subscriptions you forgot you had, at $14 a month each. A phone plan you never renegotiated, probably $20 more than it needs to be. The gap between cooking 4 nights a week instead of 2, roughly $35 a week if you're honest about delivery fees. Add it up, and $500 isn't hiding in some sacrifice you haven't made yet. It's hiding in 3 or 4 decisions you've probably never looked at closely. It's not a number that requires a 6-figure salary. It's a number that requires a decision, made once, on a Sunday afternoon, and then never revisited. You still have the screenshot on your phone, if you're wondering. $500 recurring monthly. 10 years old now. Background behind a decade of different apps and different notifications. The one constant thing on a screen that's changed everything else about it. $500 a month for 10 years doesn't look like anything while you're doing it. Somebody watching your actual life during those 10 years wouldn't have noticed a single thing different about you. Then you check the number at 65, and it isn't $60,000 anymore. It never was going to be. That was always just the part you could see. Your friend never got to find out what his account would have become. You think about that more than you'd admit to anyone. Most years, right around January. You don't know what 65 actually holds for you either. Nobody does. But the $500 keeps leaving on the first either way, whether you think about him that month or not, because that was always the entire idea. Build something that doesn't need you to remember why you started it in order to keep going.